Hey guys, welcome back to the Shower Thoughts podcast. My name is Akshat, and today I'm going to be joined by Anvesh and Ayushi. So, what's up, guys?
Nothing
How
much.
have you been?
Just
Yeah, just the usual quarantine
Mm-hmm.
stuff.
All right. Also, to begin the video, I would like to also say that Nishant couldn't make it
again.
today because again he's having he couldn't make it again. He's having issues with his internet, but he will definitely be back for the next episode. And so yeah, his return is awaited. So without further ado, we'll begin. So for the first segment, we're gonna be having the conspiracy theory segment. We usually switch up our segments. So this time we're gonna be doing conspiracy theory and debates and discussions. So for conspiracy theory, we're gonna be talking about the hollow Earth. Have you guys heard of this theory? The hollow
Yeah.
Earth theory.
Yeah.
So like, what's your what do you guys understood from your take of the theory?
I don't even know
Like,
what theory is about, bro. Honestly, I've seen King Kong, and that's all I'm talking know about Hollow Earth and shit.
okay. So you mean the one where the Rock was there? No, I don't think the Rock was in a movie like that.
What?
I think he went. No, there's a movie with him. No, I don't know.
Journey
what
to
movie
the
it was
Center
from.
of the
But
Earth. That one.
yeah, the movie. Yeah, that's what
That was a good
they
movie,
explored
bro.
all.
Yeah, that's a pretty
Yeah, it
cool
was a good
movie. I
movie.
really like that series, but then
Yeah, I know. There's a second part. Yeah, now I remember. The second part, the Rock was there in it.
The first part had
Yeah.
that
I
other
remember
cool
now.
guy, right? I don't know his name.
Yeah, the other guy. Yeah, I also don't
the one
remember.
from
who he-
Hunger Games.
That's the kid guy.
Yeah.
right?
No, that was
That
the
was the
kid.
kid.
That was the kid. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the kid.
There's an adult. Yeah.
Okay,
Acha,
start.
so, all right. So basically, Hollow Earth theory. So first of all, there was a scientist named Edmund Halley. I think we all know who Edmund Halley
Yeah.
is. One after Halley.
Yeah, he's Comet.
But it's okay. We got to know today. So anyway, leaving that aside, so Edmund Halley was an astrophysicist, geologist. Basically, he was a definition of a science guy. He loved science. So what he proposed that, we know that the Earth has two, the North and the South
Yeah.
Pole. But then he saw that, back then it was 1665. So, our assumptions and hypotheses were completely different, and, our technology didn't match at the time. So what he said that there was distortion within the Earth's Earth's magnetic field. And what he thought was, since there's a distortion within Earth's magnetic field, he proposed that, there will be two different, there will be another two different magnetic fields inside the Earth. And so then, when he put out that statement over there and people were wondering, how is that possible and all. So he decided to elaborate more on it. So what he exactly said was, the Earth will have three concentric layers, like empty layers. And within those concentric layers, they'll be moving with their own north and south poles. So hence there's a magnetic distortion because of that. So that's what he said. But then when he goes in depth with the theory, he starts hypothesizing that the Earth is hollow and all. But then of course his findings were completely wronged. He was completely wronged about it because a mathematician with the name of Charles Hutton came and proved that the Earth is actually dense. So he said that the density of Earth is about 5.5 times greater than that of water. So he completely dispelled this guy's theory. But to a certain extent, he was actually right. So what Edmund said was, three concentric layers. He said that they were hollow. But then now the way we see it, the three concentric layers are, the core, the mantle,
Yeah.
the crust,
Yeah.
things like. So because of that, he wasn't far off, even though it was kind of outlandish that he thought it's hollow. He wasn't far off because the mantle, the core and the inner core and the outer core, that consists of iron and nickel, and that consistently moves, due to which causes the magnetic field disruption. So for at the time 1665, he actually he was able to predict such a thing. So as outlandish as his ideas seem, he was able to predict such thing. So what's your guys' take on it?
I think the older the scientist, the cooler the scientist.
Bruh.
The smarter the scientist.
All right. most of their theories were proved, and back then only we discovered all these planets. What about you,
I'm
Anvesh?
not sure though. Like people, you don't even have real solid proof since nobody's actually been to like the center of the earth.
Yeah, that's there. When people do try to go towards the center of the earth, it just gets too hot. Like if you go like
Yeah,
8
like you
miles
can't
deep,
handle it
I don't think we
anymore.
have.
But then you
Exactly,
never
that's the
know.
thing.
Maybe there are people who've like actually been to the center of the earth. Because it's kind of stupid that we've gone to the moon and we haven't been to the center of the earth. I mean,
That's because like we can't
Yeah.
handle the temperatures in the center of the earth.
We can't handle
We
the thing.
can create artificial atmosphere though in our spacesuits.
yeah, exactly. So maybe
Sure,
like you
that-
never know. Maybe there's someone who's
Mhm.
been there. Maybe it was Shakespeare, because he first mentioned this idea.
Mhm.
What?
No, there's nothing wrong with that. What do you say? Assumption. Like who knows, dude? But then there's some crazy looking theories I saw on the internet. So before we started recording the episode, I went like for research. I watched all of those, those history channels. The one where they keep seeing the aliens inside of us or
Yeah,
something.
ancient
Midnight when
history.
you watch all
So-
those things.
Ancient history. Nah, dude,
Aliens, yeah.
it's so stupid, bro. He says ancient astronaut space theorist hypothesized that. And then I was wondering that they literally said that during the show, dude, and I was so baffled. But then anyway, so not only them, there's so many YouTube channels. They say that basically the inside of the Earth, it's called Agarath or something, and there are full futuristic flying people, cars, trains, everything is there. And basically, they come up every time in a century.
Yeah.
Someone is going to come and introduce the technology to us. So they say people like Isaac Newton and all just came up from there and introduced all these things.
So that's
to us.
basically
Something
like
like
the Wakanda, or like
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that time. Yeah, it's exactly like that. Yeah, that's actually
Some
true.
Atlantis shit.
But then wait, no, Atlantis. I don't think the Atlantis is related to the Hollow Earth theory, but it mostly, what do you say? I don't think it correlates, but yeah.
I don't know.
No,
bro. I
but
saw
then,
it in Godzilla.
Godzilla, yeah, Godzilla is also one more thing.
But
They have things built inside
we-
for the monster.
2012 is a very cool movie.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I got
Such a long
scared when I
time.
watched that movie.
So, you guys have anything else to add to this point?
Not really.
Yeah, I think no.
Oh, all right, fine then. To our second segment then, which is going to be debate and discussion. So for today, for debate and discussion, we have quite an interesting topic. Of course, Nishan provided this, even though he couldn't come. He did provide us with the topic. So,
Yes, at least doing some work for the podcast.
so all right. So the topic for today's debate is: if everything we do doesn't lead to a career, is it a huge waste of time? I would like to know your opinions on this. What's your take on
I
it?
feel like anything you do for entertainment purposes shouldn't be labeled as a waste of time since it helps you mature as a person.
So what do you mean? Like, so if by anything, as in, now I can even put in video game or something like, playing a video game or like playing a completely different sport. And if you take two different things and, they intertwine, they have to still follow it and it doesn't lead anywhere. That can be
You
also
learn about
considered as a
failure.
complete waste of your time.
You learn
I-
about failure.
Like, if you look at it the other way, if you take a guy who does nothing except study and wants to become like an engineer or something, he would not know shit about life, right? Like, if you think he wouldn't, like, he wouldn't be physically fit either because he won't be playing anything. But like, you get what I'm saying, right? Everything else you do apart from your career makes you grow as a person. It's not
And I
just,
think
it gives you experiences. Yeah, I should.
like it eventually impacts your career, right? Like everything that you do, even if you like try different things, you find out what you're good at and what you're not good at, what should be a hobby and what
exactly.
should
Like-
be like pursued. Sorry.
The only things you have to become aren't doctors and engineers, right? You can become whatever you choose to be. And
Exactly.
to do that, and there are a wide
that-
range of like work and careers. So if
There's
you're
so
not taking
many
part in
careers.
as many as you want, Because like I could be a rock climber for all I know, right?
Yeah.
But if I wasn't given the
But you
chance
haven't
to
tried
rock
it yet.
climb, I know I'd be good at it.
Exactly. Like if you
Yeah, of course. But then,
like when you're a kid, you want to be an astronaut, and then you see physics, and then like if you're
And then
good
we
at
don't.
physics, you can maybe like yeah, you
We
can.
don't
There's
do-
still
yeah,
hope
we
there.
still don't dream of it.
Okay. Yeah,
No.
and then
but like,
it
you know,
all comes down to death. So like everything's a waste of time. But yeah.
No. Don't say it like that.
no, I mean, no, like what we usually associate wasting time as, it's a period where we're not productive at all. Neither have we done anything or accomplished anything, or have we helped anyone out in a certain aspect. So like what I'm trying to say is, so suppose now there are different ways you can see this. Of course, you play a sport or something, you can view it as a good thing. If you play something like, watch shows or, play video games, you still think that's also comes under a waste of.
I don't think it comes under a waste of time though. Because like, I feel like people consider video games and other indoor activities a waste of time since our parents delved more into outdoor activities. So they think, if they're not doing what we're doing, then they're kind of dumb and stupid.
Yeah,
While
exactly.
for us, we feel like, oh shit, if we stay inside and watch a movie, damn, that's a good night for us.
I mean, see, in our generation, like if you read a book, parents are going to be pretty happy. But when the printing press was introduced, people actually thought that people would like forget how to speak eloquently or something like that. So
yeah, exactly. Once you can't really define what a waste of time is anymore, because for everybody it's a different. Like for me, I'd be thinking like, probably like going outside in the middle of the night is a waste of time, while other people will be like, shit, I want to do that all the time.
Yeah, exactly, because it makes them happy, and then when you're happy, it just like translates into like good work in your career also. So
that's exactly what I'm saying. Right? So like, what you define as a waste of time is
but
different
like
from
if you
person to
take if I take like such an activity such as, see, you have a good thing going for you in academics and you play a sport, okay, and the sport eats up your time that you have set aside for yourself to study now, but you really want to play the sport, because you're like super into it and all. Does that come under procrastination and a waste of time, according to you? Or you think you still learn something out of it?
Because like, you're still learning stuff on the basis of sport. That's like saying all the high school athletes who don't make it into professional leagues are wasting their time, but they're not.
I think
like,
and then you'll
improving.
never. And then like you need to know that you need to take that risk and then like make those mistakes, so it's not exactly a waste of time, or else you'll just like regret for the rest of your life, oh shit, I should have done that.
Yeah,
But then,
exactly, right? You'd keep
So it's
regretting
not-
stuff, and then that would inadvertently affect your career at the end.
Exactly. You need to make mistakes and learn
Well-
from them, and then like prioritize like that in the future. Maybe like you'll know what you're good at.
Of course, but but how far can you take that, like your hobby? Because like certain hobby, like you're super into it, like dancing or driving or playing a sport. There are certain times when they require expensive equipment, and thus they drain your financial resources. And then it becomes something more than wasting your time. It like literally takes away the financial resources that you need for other aspects of life. So like what I'm trying to say is, I don't think if you what you do as a hobby is a waste of time, but then you have to think of it on a different spectrum as well, because there can be two different sides to this.
Yeah.
Either now if
Financial
if
thing is kind of hard to delve upon. Like if a student fails a class,
it
is
is
he wasting
hard to
money
delve.
on his education now? Like you should have to think of. You're saying think of it from a different spectrum, right? But if we look in the finance section, that still is a part of a different spectrum. Even though his school effect leads to his career, like a lot of people, majority of people. If he fails a class, or if he does bad in a class and not fails, is he wasting his financial resources? You can think of it both ways.
No, but I think if someone fails their class, like we live in a very complex generation. And then people as young as us are dealing with a lot of things like mental health, etc., etc. So if someone fails their class, maybe it's like it's like a wake up call kind of thing to them, that maybe they're in some sort of like trouble or like a mess, and maybe they need like some help. So I mean, if you look at it, everything's a waste of time, and if you don't, then everything makes an impact, makes a difference.
Basically, you have to have a balance of both things in it then.
Yeah, I think it's
but then yeah, you're saying
it's more of like a half filled, half empty, half full kind of situation. Depends on your perspective.
Depends on how you're looking at it, but either way you can get to the same conclusion, different conclusions.
Yeah, I think I partly agree with you guys, but then of course I think everyone's gonna hate me after I say this.
Yeah, exactly. You have a lot of pros and cons. You can't really outweigh each thing.
Exactly. So, and then the more you see the world, the more realizations dawn upon you. So
yeah, exactly. So for if a person carefully, precisely thinks about certain aspects, really introspects and thinks about things that he's good at, he can selectively choose hobbies and find out what he's actually good at.
Hey, can you repeat what you're saying?
And then
it's getting cut off a bit.
Like, see, before like what I'm trying to say is, whatever we do as a hobby, can it potentially just be a huge waste of time? So in that regard, so if a person has completely talked to knows his pros and cons himself, okay, and then he decides to choose what hobbies that may benefit him in the long run. For me personally, that's what I feel is profitable, rather than someone who just goes with the flow, just goes with, of course,
that makes sense, right? Like just timelessly going about whatever you're doing, instead of like thinking about what you want to do in the future and stuff like that.
So
that
so what I'm trying to say is,
it makes sense, but the way you're looking at it is like a person who doesn't really care about what he's going to do in the future, so he doesn't have any idea of what he's going to do, right?
See, dude, most of the people, I think 90% of it, even we right now don't have any idea what we're gonna do. Like, no matter how thoughtfully or carefully, you have a career path laid down for you, but you don't know what you're gonna do when you get to that point, how your career will plan out and all. So in the long run, no one really knows what they're in for in life. So if a person was carefully at least to a certain extent can really profit off it, then I think it's fine. But then if someone are dragged into something, or go because it's their friend, their friends are in it, or start pursuing something because sometimes it also leads to addiction, and that can be even more devastating than doing something as a hobby. Like okay, your hobby is reading, let's say your hobby is watching shows or something like that. You can be addicted to a certain amount of shows. You can be addicted to watching YouTube or something like that, and that completely you procrastinate then. So there's a very fine line between now not even talking about the career aspect, addiction and hobbies, and what is profitable. Now, not talking in that way, what's more what develops you more as a person is a better way to put it.
I guess it's the approach to whatever you're taking though, right? Now it'll only be about the mindset of the person, if you can narrow it down to that. If a person's going to be really productive, he'll choose hobbies that he like and will help him in the long run, taking outside external factors.
So exactly, the external factors, sometimes when something's your hobby and then an opportunity comes your way, you could obviously make something of that.
Yeah, exactly. But
of course,
you also have to take into account that many people are going towards and finding new hobbies because of external factors. Some people don't start off playing basketball well only because their friends are playing the joint and they're like, oh shit, I want to make this something I want to be good at, and they make it their hobby. You got to take in both ways, but it's the approach of the person that has to matter at the end.
Yeah,
Of course,
exactly.
yes, approach is extremely important. But like you said, external factors are like a huge part of it. Like you said, basketball. If you said, your friends are playing it, you want to make something out of it. Yeah, the external factor you should consider here is, if your country gives you that opportunity to actually have a proper career within that field. As
Can
we
you
know,
repeat
that's
it
not the
once
case
more?
in India. You said that external factors plays a really important role into this. So, that's what I'm trying to say. Certain things, like most of the things, don't really lead to that. There are rare cases like, these big time NFL players or these NBA players or cricket
Yeah,
players.
I get it.
Like, most of them
Like,
started just like that. 9 starts something and, we don't end up anywhere with it, with a hobby. Of course, it does develop the mind and all, but career-wise, maybe we may have wasted some time on it. Like, that's like, I'm not saying complete time, but like some time on it. Of course, you can take that time as,
But like how a career is
developing yourself as a
associated.
person. How career is associated?
Yeah, how your career is associated with your livelihood. So maybe if all these really cool scientists, if they were busy trying to make a livelihood, they won't have actually discovered all the cool stuff.
isn't science their livelihood?
Not like in that era. In that era, I don't think science was considered like a career or a livelihood.
I think research and development was a thing though, even in any era.
I'm pretty sure it was.
Like,
no, but then I get what she's trying to make. But like I said, people, like most of us, like to be great, either we are fortunate enough that whatever we do, whatever we touch is gold, or we have to make a lot of sacrifices as you come along in life. Like that's the problem with most of the time, in our society right now nowadays. Because it's really difficult to even pick up a sport. Because you pick up a sport, you pick up some activity, and if anyone says anything, most of the time, other people's parents, I'm not saying ours, but like 80 or 70% of those people who want to make something in engineering or the doctorate field, so they say it's a waste of time. Because they like you can just, instead of going down and playing, you can sit at home and spend that 1 hour more on your chapters or on your studies.
Yeah, but like,
of course, I get that point.
The problem with that is if you're fulfilling your parents' dream or your dream, right? Right.
Yeah, of course. That's an important aspect to consider. But then
your parents would want you to do what they want you to do. They won't like, if you say you want to become a basketball player, your parents would be like, shut up.
Yeah, but then like it also depends on
of course,
how badly you want it. Like it ultimately narrows down to that. How badly you want it, like how you can do anything.
Yeah, exactly. It's based on the mindset of the person at the end.
Yeah, exactly. It's desires.
Okay, but then exactly, the desire and all, that's important. But the way we live in, like the day, what am I saying? The society we live in, has put up constraints on our lives, because we can't really pursue what we want to pursue anymore. Of course we can, but then it takes a certain amount of, from a really young age, we have to follow a certain line towards it. A certain way we have to go about
I
it.
agree.
Then we get to a point in our lives where we can actually decide, okay, my parents aren't going to boss me around. I earn myself. I can decide what I want to do. Something like that.
Yeah.
It all ends up with the factors and situations the person is in, though.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all you can narrow it down to. Like, you can't really label anything a waste of time anymore.
Yeah, because like people do like so much out of their hobbies. Like they make like an entire empire just
a
out
lot
of
of people start businesses out of their hobbies, like jewelry and necklace making or whatever.
But then again, if we can actually keep on talking about this, because there are too many pros and too many cons coming to this. Of course, the weight of the cons definitely outweigh the pro. So it's a topic that we can keep talking about endlessly. It ultimately, like you guys said, comes down due to external factors. Whether you're born in a rich family or a poor family, your resources are limited and stuff like that. But then, other than that, do you guys have anything else to add to it? No?
Not really.
Any other points?
We came down to the basic point of what makes the difference with everybody.
Yeah. All right, then fine. Then with that, I think we'll wrap up the episode. So then, thank you guys for tuning in. Please leave a like, subscribe, and share. Be sure to tune in every Tuesday because we upload once a week. And yeah, that's a good night from me.
Okay. Bye.
And yeah.